Hey everybody, how are you doing tonight? I'm doing pretty good. Um, Definitely ready for the weekend, but I think I have a little bit of programming left in me, so we'll just get right to it. So we're still working on the animation system, and we have a lot of it done, but we just need to work on kind of the deep system part where basically we need to play animations interleaved with the actual game actions, and we need to be able to store them until after we get the okay from the server to actually execute everything. And for example, here is a script for a move ability. And so like this is just a bunch of animations, and the first actual game action is here, where we move the user to the target. Then some more animations, and then set facing. So we need to be able to store these animations in sequence and say like these play before move and these play before facing. And the reason is because normally we would just execute these right away, but we can't do that because we have to send these actions to the server. But just for ease of use for the mod authors, I want to be able to store the animations at the same time. And then once we get the okay from the server, we'll just come back, look at this list, and execute them in this order. And I've did a little bit of writing about this last night because I was debating on whether I wanted to have a storage class that's like generic for any kind of animation, or if I wanted to store the animation command structures I've already built. And I think I've decided that we'll just have a generic generic storage class, and I'm gonna actually restructure some of the way I've done the code before. So I'm gonna create a storage class which can store any type of animation, and then I'll change the Lua function handlers to actually pass the storage class to the script manager instead of these parameters. If I pull up right here, so for example, here's the movement. And down here it passes a movement command, and so we'll actually just pass some generic command right here. And then the logger will store the classes for later use. And then the commander class, which right now just calls the messages for these commands to be executed, will actually transform the generic storage class into the correct animation parameter. So that should be good. Okay, and the last thing, storage class. Yeah, the storage class will also have entries for the wait handles, and then when to start which actions to execute. Which I think, yeah, I guess that's just how we'll do it. Yeah, the action, the Lua interface, right now I have actions kind of separate from animations, and I think I'll leave it like this. But the actions will actually probably just also register themselves with the animation script manager, because they're kind of intertwined. Let me see. How do I do that right now, actually? Where is it? Action logger, I think. Okay, so it adds an action, but is this what's... Okay, this is probably what's called from Lua. Yeah, the action list actually stores everything. Oh yeah, we have to do like a little bit of trickery here, because when we right away when we call this do move, we want the user or Lua scripts to think that this user is now at this position, even though it's not actually, just for ease of logic for the scripts. So like for here, let me see, in monster, Yeah, see, we have to loop through all actions in this action list to see if this monster has moved. Does it go? It should go backwards, actually. Okay, I did. I already thought that. So yeah, we'll have to think about that. It kind of... Okay, well, we probably won't actually store the action in the animation things, but it'll just say play action number, whatever. Or do action number. Or maybe do a certain number of actions. We'll see. Probably, like I have this action executor class. And so probably this will have like a list. We'll have the animation list and then also the action list, and we'll take care of switching between them as needed. But let's see. I think that's how I'll do it, so let's get started. Okay, let's call this stored animation. Okay, and this will be a public class. Okay, and yeah, we'll definitely need an enumeration here. Public class, or yeah, enum. Stored animation type. And I always like to have like some dummy value for 0, because if this is ever set, then that means that we didn't initialize the variable correctly. Okay, so here, I guess we'll need to have like an action and a wait. And then we'll have the actual animation types. So far we have move, rotate, and set animator parameter. And that's like the booleans and floats and all that type of thing in our in Unity's animator class. Okay, so let's see. We need to store all the information in this one class. So stored animation type. And I guess there'll be an int or index. And that can have the action index and also the weight handle index, and then for move and rotate, probably won't be able to use it for that. Be the parameter name for that, and then we'll need to have different data entries. Could try and do something with like polymorphism where we have subclasses of this, but that will make it. The only reason I say no is because that will make it a little bit difficult for us to debug it in Unity, because Unity in general doesn't do well with polymorphism. We could have like another class that we actually would stick in here with extra information. That might be the way to go. But for action and wait, we just need this. For move, let's see. Public. Well, if we do, okay, if we're gonna do, oh well, no, I was gonna say that we could just stick the move class or the move command in there, but it's not really good to cast. Structures. Well, it's fine, but it defeats the purpose. Technically, the stored animation could be a structure as well because we're not going to change anything after it's set. Okay, well, let's look. So first we need to, we have the animation parameter command. Yeah, see the thing about this is that we have a value for each. I don't really want to be like so generic because that'll be difficult to switch back and forth between them. Could just stick like a dictionary in there, but I don't like that. Okay, well, let's do it this way. And then we'll just have an object here of a class that contains the extra information that we need. So this will be stored animator parameter. And I guess we would really just copy all this. And if we're going to do that, we might as well just store this. So maybe that's what I will do. I could just make these classes instead of structures and then all this problem would go away, but yeah, maybe that's what I should do. Okay, well this actually makes things a little easier, because if these are all just classes, then the script manager maybe can create the stored animation, and then the Lua files won't have to worry about it. Okay, so let's see. Logger class will actually, one other thing I want to do here is the stored animation. Instead of just having a list of this, I think it makes it a little easier to use if I have something like stored animation. Like a collection of them. It'll basically just have the list inside, but it just makes it easier to work with the component system. I don't really want to just call it stored animations, so I guess I'll call it a sequence. That makes sense. So, and it'll just have a list of this. Okay, and let's have a constructor. I could make this a component if I wanted to. That might be a good idea. But I'll wait and see. Alright, so here somehow we'll need to get that stored animation sequence. So yeah, do I want to make it a component? Yeah, I think so. That way, the other class that needs to access this later will just be able to. Okay, so I component, and this is just something I use in my game flow engine, and really it just lets other classes be able to access this in an easy way. Okay, and I guess we'll let this be able to be disposed. Yeah, and if it's disposed, then it will be ready for cleanup. Then we'll just remove the list. I think really we need to check there, and I guess we'll just go ahead and construct that list right here. Okay, so now we'll just grab this sequence out of the component list. That looks good. Okay, so in the script manager, it will need to send something to the logger. And now I'm almost thinking that maybe we don't need to have the logger be a separate class because it's pretty much just going to be creating these objects, and it's actually going to be pretty simple. You almost don't really need the commander to be a separate class either. I just did that to have, so I wouldn't have this whole thing clogged up with message command, or with message handles. Okay, so here I guess we would just call logger add animator param, or we could just call logger add and then create that class ourselves. Let's see, if I did it like this, private void log, and then we would just, we'd have the type and then the index. What is it? Stored animation type. And then an object for the command. And then we would just have the sequence variable ourselves. I don't really think there's any reason to have the logger be separate, because it's not going to have a bunch of variables either. Okay, so sequence, animations, add, new, stored animation. Okay, one thing also I just realized is that pretty much we'll need to like kind of cycle in and out the stored animations, so because they'll be, this variable will be separate for each script command. Well, I guess whenever or whatever takes that would just grab this list. So, or copy from the list and then clear it. Yeah, so this should be fine. Yeah, the script manager should be notified when the script is about to run. An ability selection action script, because it has to kind of initialize itself. So I'm not sure how we'll get that yet, but let's just say private void initialize for new script, and we'll just clear this sequence because something else should have already copied anything it needed. Okay, and we don't want to reset anything else, so I guess we might reset outstanding requests. I don't know, we'll wait. Oh well, no, this should just keep all indexes until we actually run. That will be fine. Or let's see. Okay, I think the way I'll do it, yeah, we won't set this outstanding request just to try and remove bugs or minimize bugs. We'll actually store the index of this specific animation type if it exists in there, and then we'll just reset all these outstanding requests as they are played. Yeah, where do we store this when we're not? I guess this should also probably be stored in the stored animation. Or can it just be recreated? Well, no, it's not even needed to be kept afterwards, so yeah, I won't worry about that. Oh yeah, because yeah, this will all be different. Because that's just for the coroutine system. But we'll have to use something else when we are actually playing the animations in battle. Because it's not going to go through the coroutine system, so yeah, I don't need to worry about that at all, really. Well, no, we still won't clear that. Yeah, just leave that. Okay, so I can fix this, I guess, since I know a little bit more how this is going to work. So bool is logging. Can't type right today. My index finger on my right hand is hurting me. I think I used the scroll wheel too much a couple days ago. So I'm trying to not use it as much. So I do apologize if I have more typos than normal today. Okay, but anyway, if is logging is false, then we'll add this to the outstanding requests. In fact, I think I might rename this to outstanding coroutine requests, just to hammer that down. Do I even need to return the actual async open requests, or can I just return the Lua requests to the scripts? One thing is that the Lua do move, and they don't actually return anything yet, and they need to return the Lua. They need to return something to Lua, so this would be Lua request. What's it called? Lua interface asynchronous request. I'm surprised this didn't throw an error, but I guess it's just because we called the function with a void, and so it was like returning nothing, which meant that the coroutine system just picked the first active request, which is what it's supposed to do. But okay, yeah, so we really don't need the whole thing. Oh, well, we need the index. Okay, so maybe I need to do an out here because we don't need to create this object if it's not in coroutine mode. We might as well not. Okay, so void, and we'll have out interface async request, and this will be the Lua request, and then we'll have out int request index. I'll just call it index, I guess, since we already are using that. Okay, so we will need to have this. The Lua request doesn't actually have much fun or much in it. Okay, so the whole thing is we don't need to do anything down here if we're not in logging mode. So if logging is false, means we're in coroutine mode, then we need to handle these. This basically just enables it for the coroutine system. Okay, and then we won't return anything. Okay, so let's see. I think that's good, but now I'm going to need to update some more here. So I have the A request, be the return value, and then int wait handle. Hard to type with this other finger. So Lua return and out wait handle. Okay. Now I just need to do this for the rotation down here. Okay, and I don't need to worry about this for the animator set parameters because they're not enabled, like they don't have any weight handle, so. Okay, so that's good. Let's go back here. So yeah, this is all good. Do I call is in the logging state in any other time? Because I probably need to update that. Okay, just down here where we are either storing or sending the command. So let's see. It'll just be the type, and then the index if there is any. Okay, well that was pretty simple. So here, if we're in logging state, this arrow should work even if we're in the logging state, so that's good. And this will be that animator parameter, dex. This will be -1 because there's no weight handle. And then the command. Here, log, move, and then we have the weight handle, and then we just pass the command. And something similar here, so except this is rotate. Okay, so yeah, now I'm confident that we can get rid of this logger class because it's not really going to save us any complexity. Or rather, it's not going to make anything easier, it's just going to make things more complex. Alright, so let's see. We need to take care of actions and also wait commands. That will also be a Lua handle, so this will be signal wait. And we'll have the index. Actually, do we set? Yeah, we don't actually set the index in this request. So how do we get the index back when the from Lua when it sends this back to us? Async request I don't think stores that information. No, and we don't really want it to because that's not something that we should rely on. I guess the problem is when we're not in a logging state, Lua will give these classes back to us and we should be able to figure out the index from it. I guess we could just store an index in here. It's not going to get lost, and we could just make it not available to Lua. Or we could just have we'll see. How does a coroutine system do it actually? Does it just like look through and see the one that has the same request? Let me look into that. The asynchronous request handler. So it gets a return value from the coroutine. And if the return type is a user data and it's an asynchronous request, then we check if it's ready using the request. Let me see how that's done. Get corresponding request. Okay, so yeah, all it does is just loop through the open request, so we could do something similar. For some reason, I don't know, that just doesn't feel good to me. Could just use a dictionary to map from request to the wait index. That should be okay. I mean, we tested with equality before and I didn't override this, so it just actually looks at the object reference to test equality. I don't know. There's not really any reason not to store the index in here, now that I think about it. It's just that the reason I didn't do that before, I guess, is because the asynchronous request handler, these requests, I don't think, have a specific index associated with them. Oh, they do actually. But that's not used by the asynchronous request handler, that's used in the other logic, so. Okay, well I'm spending too much time thinking about this. Let's, yeah, I'll just store the index in here, I mean, why not? Okay, so this will be private int hidden index. And yeah, this won't be accessible from Lua, so moon sharp hidden. Okay, so now the hidden index is just index. Yeah, so now this all works and we don't have to worry about using the async system, even though we're kind of trying to piggyback on this so it seems the same to Lua. We could just make a different class, but I don't really see what that would accomplish. Anyway, so here, signal wait. So this time, if we're not in logging state, we'd actually throw an error because That shouldn't have been called. Is false. Let's actually return Boolean so that the script handler can give a better error code or error message. Okay, so this would be wait. And instead of doing the index, we'll actually just take this async request. Oh yeah, I think there's a Unity version of async request, so that's why I have to prefix it with the namespace. And so we can use the request, the hidden index, and then the command is null because there's no extra data for here. And we'll return true. Otherwise we'll return false, because if we're not in a logging state, then there should be an error. Because yeah, this method should not have been called, it should have used the coroutine system. So okay, and then here we'll signal an action, and we'll just have an index for this. Yeah, we'll just be past this from somewhere else, maybe not even from a Lua script. So yeah, because it's going to need to go through that actions logger class in the Lua interface, which we're going to have to change a bit how that works, because I think now it just stores it and the code doesn't look at it right away. But in order to keep this sequence in order, it's going to need to look at the action right away. But anyway, okay, so yeah, somehow we'll just get a log. And since we're not going to be from Lua, I'm not going to worry about... I guess I should still check if I'm in the logging state, but I won't send anything back if I'm not. So the index is just index, and that's the index of the action that we'd want to execute right now. Well, actually, whoever does this, because it could just insert something in the sequence. Doesn't even have to go through this class, now that I think about it. But I guess just in case, I want to do it this way. Okay, so I think I'm good here. So I figured out basic gist of it. So how, I guess I'll need to figure out what class will actually take care of executing everything as it comes. Let's do a little cleaning up here. I think I renamed some of this stuff, so it should be rotate. Okay. Yeah, I want to leave this actions wait because it should be only during the actions phase you'd want to call this. Set Boolean. I think I have this R neighbors set up. Okay, and I changed this to move linear instead of do move arc. And yeah, I like actions wait better. We'll have no easing here, but it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's good. And then it does an action. I think I remember setting up this, so and then this should just be rotate and actions wait again. Okay, I don't have the set facing set up in actions, but we're going to need to go in there anyway, so I think the animation system, well, it's set up to log everything, and that's the first step. So let's see. If I play it now, I guess let's just see how far it gets. It's gonna throw an error, I think, when it gets to the action. At the very least, it'll throw an error when it gets to set facing. Well, before I do that, let's actually see sequence. Oh yeah, I need to give return arguments here. Okay, so this should just be async request. And down here also. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, so I want to set up our debug little object here to show us the script as it's being built, or the sequence as it's being built. So we'll just want to add another object here. Okay, so let's do public, what do I call it? Stored animation sequence. Oh. Okay, and the animation sequence is get Beluga component. And the reason I have to call it get Beluga component instead of just get component is because Unity already has a get component. But I didn't want it to be too confusing. I think that's all I have to do, except I need to set the stored animation sequence and the stored animation itself to be serializable. And I think that's all I have to do. It should show up right here. Okay, it's still loading. There we go. And I guess while I'm here and I remember, let's get rid of this because the animators or the rotators don't need a reference to the game database. And I'll close up because we're not going to need to look at them tonight, I don't think. I actually just set that. The game is starting to get large enough that it's non-negligible compilation time. Okay, so yeah, it's doing our test thing. I forgot to take this out. It's not needed anymore. So here I had this, which was just for testing coroutine animations. I won't delete it because we might use it again to make sure that we don't break anything trying to do the action animations, but okay, so yeah, now it's not doing anything and I can select an action. Okay, so now it's trying to do stuff, but we got to an error, as I thought. Cannot access field actions wait. Okay, so yeah, I didn't fill that up. Let's see what the animation sequence has so far. Yeah, so set animation parameter and then a rotate. Oh, I think it, oh yeah, as I said, doesn't do well with polymorphism, so we can't actually see the data in there, but that's okay. For debugging, we mostly just want to see the type and the index anyway, so. That open actually. So it started to go well. Let's look. So it did the Boolean and rotate, and then it messed up right there. Or didn't mess up, but gave me an error. Okay, so in the animations class in the Lua interface, we need to have public void actions wait. And I guess, do I want to have two versions of this? One for a specific animation handle and one for all handles. I think so, but I think I might make name them separately. So this will have an async request, and then we'll have public void actions wait all. So we'll need two more function handles up here, or delegates. Public action sync request actions wait. Okay, no arguments. So, and this is actions wait all. Okay, so let's see. Here I need to actually create the class that implements these functions. Okay, so I'll just call this the Lua wait. It doesn't need to be public actually. So I think I'll copy this because it'll be a lot like it. I don't need all that maybe. That way I don't have to type it up all again. Okay, so we'll have two here, actions wait and actions wait all. Oh, except I want the little a version of it. And this will be Lua wait single and wait all. I'll get rid of a lot of these errors when I use the right namespace. Okay, so I don't need this after all. Okay, so let me see. Both versions we need check if the script manager is in the right phase. Let's see, so for signal wait, if I get null here, no, let's not do that. We'll just have bool all and then the specific request. So if it's all, set -1, otherwise we'll use the hidden index. Okay, so here, the only thing I really need to check is this. Then if manager signal wait true and then null. If this returns false, then we can't wait in the script, so we'll throw another runtime exception. Cannot call wait actions during the script. Use coroutine field instead. Okay, so that's easy. And Here, I would just actually pass the request up. And this will be false. This is not, it's actually actions wait, isn't it? Okay, that was pretty easy. And now here in the script manager, I just need to create this class. So new do await. Didn't know how hard it would be how hard it would be to type without my index finger. All right. Looks good. Hi, Mimi Bella. That's nice of you to say. I hope you're having a great night. All right, so let me see here. Where are we? I did press the wrong button there. Oh no, I want to make it yeah, no color. Oh, except that it's unhighlighted now. Thank you, I am actually getting quite a bit of work done here. Okay, and I actually changed this, so this is not true anymore. Oh, it does do that. Don't need that anymore. Okay, so basically I'm caught up here. Just pass animation requests through coroutines. Okay, so I do need to do that. And then I need to do the action, the script needs to insert correct data into the animation sequence. And then I actually need to do like the action executor needs to actually play the, or yeah, needs to play the sequence. Okay, so I guess let's do this real quick. It should be pretty simple, I think. Okay, so here we're in the coroutine system, and really I just need to okay, does it call? I think this might be easier than I think. So yeah, checks request is ready. But what is it? It must wait. Okay, yeah, and then if it doesn't have to wait, then that means the request is ready, so it just resumes immediately. Trying to get down to where this is actually called. Okay, so it calls is request filled. Oh, thanks, Maybe Bella. I appreciate it. Alright, and so this just sends something to yeah, right here. But we don't have a way to throw an error. Maybe I need to, this async request handler needs to have, I don't really want it to have any knowledge of like when something should be valid or not. maybe what I could do is just have this return value also have Boolean. That would signal that there's some error, or that if it's ever passed the coroutine system, that it shouldn't be allowed. But that just makes me think maybe I shouldn't even use the same class. That might be the easiest thing to do. Let's see, if I did have a different class type, then it would get an error here that would say bad yield argument. I guess would be fine, although it's not going to be super, like it's not going to explain it that well. Okay, but I think that's probably the best way to do it without complicating this call loop a whole lot. Alright, Mimi Bella. I appreciate you for coming by for a bit. Have a good night. Alright, okay, yeah, so let's go with that. The Lua interface. I need to make another version of this class. I don't know. Yeah, because this is supposed to be for the coroutine system. So if this is ever returned to Lua, it should be able to pass this. That just makes sense. So I think I am doing the right thing. So I guess this will just, let's call this animation wait handle. Oops, I don't know. Yeah, I was trying to type tactical lizard tamer again, but I don't need to. Okay, so moon sharp your data, and since we want this to be usable in Lua, we have to add this tag up here. And like always, I need to hide the constructor because we don't want Lua to be able to create new instances of this class. So we don't really need a type here, but we do need the index. Okay, and this index, oh no, I won't do that there. I need to get an accessor for this and also hide it from Lua. Okay, so now what I need to do is in the script manager, instead of returning this async, we'll actually need to return a dynamic value, which is just a Lua variable that can be any, well, a Lua variable can be any object, any type, so we can just use that. So let's rename this to Lua return. It'll actually be completely different now. So if is logging, set that, and I can get rid of this hidden index now. Interface dot asynchronous request. This will cause some trouble for a little bit, but okay, so yeah, I can that. guess I can move this out instead of having two separate if statements. No. And so here we'd actually want to use the new animation weight handle class. But first I need to create the dynamic value. So Lua return equals dynamic value from object. Do I have to know the script? I just want to create a dynamic value. Have I used this before? Okay, so that is how I do it. But this is, okay, that's actually, yeah, this is all Moon Sharp's logic. So how do I know I created a dynamic value before. Maybe I did this, user data create. Really? Okay, there's gotta be a way to get the script. I think this handling script variable might have it. No. Actually, it's just the script. Yeah. One thing that's a little confusing about Moon Sharp to me is the script. It kind of makes it seem like it'd be one function call based on the way that I'm using it in this game, but it's actually the entire Lua namespace. So, and I always think of it in the first way, but since it's the second way, we actually can get it really easily because we have the Lua interface manager. Well, not even that; it's in the game data. So, game data has a reference to that script variable. I keep typing L instead of semicolon. Get component. Game data. Alright, let me get a drink of water real quick. Alright, feels better. Okay, so since we have that, I could just call, we'll just use the dynamic value version. From object, so I have the database, script environment, and I think that's what I need. And then the value is just the request up here. That should be fine. So we did the same thing here, no acceptance. Cool. This will be new animation weight handle. Oh yeah, I guess I need to put Lua interface in the front. And the index will just be index. Pretty simple. And so here we won't do that, we'll actually just take a weight handle. Yeah, so if it's not in logging state, this shouldn't ever have been called because this wouldn't even really exist, but okay. And so now I need to go update this stuff. So animations, okay, we don't return an async request now, it's a dynamic value. And this should be an animation weight handle. Oh, what's wrong with that? Inconsistent. Okay, so I just need to set this class to public. Let's change this to dynamic value. And in the Lua, no, I don't have to do anything here. In weight handle, oh wait, yeah, Lua weight, that's what I was trying to do. Let's change this. Oh, except it's actually an animation. Weight handle. And then the Lua do movement, I need to update the type from asynchronous request to dynamic value. But besides that, nothing else will change. Okay, so I think we're all good to go again. Since I did change that, let's test this again to make sure that the coroutines still work. Because we did actually just change some logic with the coroutine system. Okay, but it does still work fine. Good to see. Alright, so here, yeah, well now I wouldn't throw here because we'd actually have implemented that now. I think it would have gone all the way down to set facing because set facing doesn't exist. So I guess let's just try and see if that works. Okay, so select some actions. Okay, and let's see where the error happened. Not call actions wait during the script, use coroutine yield instead. Okay, that is not right. Maybe, I thought I set animation logging. Script manager. Yeah, and logging. Yeah, if it's in a logging state, then this is not 0, so that's right. So after turn effects has this set to true, and then also selection actions. Oh yeah, I use user data create there. That's kind of weird, but what is wrong? Because I set log animations right here. So it actions wait at line 44. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so what is wrong with it? Okay, that's not what I was looking for, but fluid colors. Okay, so it's not actually gonna give me where this was actually triggered. Oh, but okay. This was in lieu of wait. Do not call actions wait during this script. So, Oh yeah, because it returned true. This needs to be inverted. If it returns false, then that means that we'd throw an exception. So yeah. Okay, let's try one more time. I want to see how far it gets and then what's in this animation sequence. I know that the actions won't be yet, but we should get some weight handles at least. Oh gosh, I really need to fix this camera. The controls just don't work now that I changed it to orthogonal or orthographic. Okay, so cannot access field set facing yet because that doesn't exist. Okay, so set animation. If we pull this up, yeah, we set, that's this command, and then rotate is right here, and then wait for this rotate index, that's why they're both 0. And set boolean right there. And then a neighbor, so it should that walk, and that's true, and then it moves. And that's index 1, and so now we're going to wait on the movement, which is there, there, and then we set both of them to false. Okay, so... Okay, yeah, and then the actions didn't happen, and then they are collinear, which means they're neighbors, basically. So we don't have to do another rotation. And then I was trying to set facing. Okay, so yeah, that's all good. Let's close this so it's not running the whole time. So that's done. Now we have to do this. Let's take a look. I think it's actions logger that the animator, that the Lua scripts actually call. And it does a little validation. I guess that's fine. But I don't know. Do I want to just do another thing that's just full of, like, I export the logic to some class outside of the Lua interface? Lua will still need to have like a log of these actions because it has to work through here, and I guess I'd want that to be separate. Okay, let's actually use the actual game action, which is fine, I guess. It actually returns the game action class. It's nice, but I don't know if it really is needed. Okay, so that's not, yeah, that's actually Lua interface game action classes, so that can stay. Okay, I want to change this to just actions because that's what it's called, and then the actual namespace, and I keep on confusing it. Okay, so what I need to do, I kind of want to pull this out and just into some other outside class like I did for the animations, but then it will still need to add this into the Lua interface list because Lua interface has like this extra logic that it has to keep track of, and that's fine. Okay, I don't know when this is used. Also, these aren't... Oh, okay, well this isn't user data, so it's fine. Oh, I bet I know. I think that this current script system uses this to actually insert into the Yeah, the generated actions decoder. We won't need to use the same type of thing, I don't think. Yeah, because right now I think what happens is we just store these Lua game actions, and then when the script is done, we change them into the game action, like the game data action classes. But I want to change that. I think. Yeah, definitely. So let's just try and get this do move to work first. Okay, it's still gonna need that. And then we'll also have private. Okay, this is gonna be confusing, but this is the C# action, which is just a delegate. Yeah, just a monster and a position, so that's pretty easy. Okay, so this is move. Well, it should actually return this Lua class, I think. Yeah, so I'll make this a function because it has a return value. And I always forget. Yeah, the return value goes at the end, so. Okay, I don't need to keep this as simple. So, game action equals do move, monster position, and then we have lists. So I guess we would just pass the action. What do I guess it just returns the action for ease of use, but I don't know, that doesn't help me. And while we're here, let's just go ahead and set up set facing. Okay, and this takes a monster and a facing, then returns a game action. Okay, and these should actually both be moon sharp. Well, they're private, so I don't need to do that. But I will have. Well, no, there's no reason to do accessor. I'll just make them public and then hide them. Okay, and then we have set facing, monster, facing. Okay, and there we go. And while I'm here, let's go ahead and update game or the Lua interface, because remember, these Lua classes need to know about actions immediately when the script or when this function is called, even if they don't take place in the game right away. So we need to kind of return, not like a bad value, but I don't even check for facing right here. Or I don't even have a way to get the monsters facing, but we'll just go ahead and add that. Okay, so we'll check game action type. Okay, no, it is Lua interface, so move that facing. Okay, so we have a target position. facing, target, facing. Okay, and then here, yeah, we'll just loop through, and this helper function goes from the last action that was executed backwards. So we just look through the set facing, and the first one we find, if this monster, or if we are the monster that's this action, or that was the user of this action, then we know that we want to return this facing because now this is our current facing. Or it will be once these actions are executed. Otherwise, we return get facing. Okay, so that's fine. So now if we press play, it'll just throw an error because this do move is null. So should these codes be in the action logic or execute? I guess the action logic. Let me see. So we have the ordering. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I want to reorganize a bit. Okay, so we have, yeah, I have this ordered and unordered, and I don't really like the way this works. But that's turn selections, and we're not working with that right now. So I actually want, where is it that? Changes this selection to actions, I forget. These are the Lua callers. I guess I can see what calls this Lua, so. Ordering action creator, that's what I was looking for. Is that up here? Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so it gets a turn selection list and then it returns an action list. Which I guess is fine. Yeah, so what I want to do for turn selection, I wanted to have like a separate ordered and unordered action list. Where is this used? Like, is this ever used in another place? So that, because ideally I'd like this to be able to just claim this variable without having to use a tag, or even better, make this into a component. Let's use a lot actually. So the action list is, yeah, it's more like a data class. But if I want to have, I could still make a component and name it like current turn actions or something, and then that would just contain this action list. What namespace is this in? Okay, data. So this would be, I guess just all turn actions, I'll call it. Yeah, that's fine. Probably have to go through some code and look whatever used the old action list, but I think having this separate component for this will make things a lot easier. Oh, I also remembered here in the animation, the script manager. needs to dispose of, or something needs to dispose of the sequence at some point. Well, actually, all I have to do is just add it into the controller's disposable list. But I need to make sure that it's only added once. How do I want to do that? What I should do is just have like a, I guess maybe I can go ahead and do that right now. I guess it would be here in the play flow. Maybe the flow manager could do it, because this is like the manager for the whole phase. Because whenever it exits to the match phase end, we would want to dispose a bunch of objects that aren't needed anymore. Which I keep on putting this off, but the more I do it, the more buggy the game is going to get, because I'll probably forget things. Okay, let's just do a separate object. So now this is a bit of a detour, but while I'm thinking about it, so dispose on match end. And it'll be pretty simple. All it's going to do is take auto controller and add a bunch of stuff here. The disposable list, add controller, get component, sequence, what was it, animations. There we go. So now this is set to dispose when this controller is done with it. Oh wait, that's not exactly what I want to happen, is it? Okay, so yeah, this, I should rename this dispose on scene end, because it disposes when this controller is done. Which I think will be fine, because we really just want this to be cleared from the component list when we exit back to the lobby. Let's see. So we'll need to look, there's probably a lot that I'll need to add to this list. I don't know. I think I did keep a few. Suppose, okay, that's like assets. Yeah, I'll just need to like look through components. Various components to see if they need to be disposed at the end of the match. I can't think of it right now, so. Yeah, so I'll just wait. At some point, I'll go through and clean things up. Okay, but yeah, I'm glad that I caught that now. Actually, here in the play subcontroller, I should go ahead and create that class. So, to dispose on scene end. Okay, a little difficult to type that, but here we go. Okay, so where was I? Ordering action creator. Instead of having action lists, I want it to have the all turn actions. And the whole point is I don't want to have to use this tag, so I guess I'll just comment it out. This is going to make the game explode, but okay, and yeah, it's not even a variable anymore, so don't need that. Okay, and it's not claim var, it's just get component. Okay. I guess this should be disposed though. Okay, and this is action logic. All turn action. Okay, so let's see. I think what it does, yeah, we don't have to do this anymore. Nice. Alright, I don't implement this yet. And it'll have private, spool, disposed, and public action list. I could just have like a list of actions now, but since I have this action list class, I'll just keep it. Okay, nothing there. Set those to true and clear out the list. Then we return disposed. And then in the constructor, I need to create this. Okay, so back to this. This would be list.actions. I guess I could just make a clear variable in the action list. I don't know if that's very useful, but right now the action list just has a list of actions, so I don't know how useful this class really is. It's used a lot though. I guess it's just so here I didn't have to type list game action every time, because we actually send this over the network quite a bit. Okay, anyway. Okay, and so here, yeah, we add all the actions that we get back from the script. And I guess we'll still do that. Yeah, that should be fine. I guess the index in the animation sequence will actually be the index in this action list, so maybe we should change this a little bit. So I think this class will just call the Lua, and maybe it won't actually do anything with this, but we'll have some other class that actually builds the list when Lua is being called. Kind of like the animation script handler does. Which, by the way, doesn't call this yet. So okay, that's interesting. Now I think about it, the action list needs to have all the player's actions in one long thing, but the sequence I guess the sequence would be the same way, wouldn't it? Okay, so this isn't actually initialized for a new script, it's initialized for a new turn. So maybe I just do this automatically when we enter in the ordering turn phase. Or maybe the script manager shouldn't even handle doing that. Probably the action creator should, because it already clears the actual action list. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, and so yeah, we'll have to use animations here, and this will just be animation sequence. Okay, so yeah, this is not needed. Alright, and then here, no, it's here. When we clear that, we'll also clear the animation sequence. Okay, so that's, okay, everything's initialized now. Okay, so this Lua call result, it's not going to return anything back anymore, really, because this list would have been deposited by some other class, or would have been filled. Yeah, we don't even need this decode. Well, I guess we'll still use it, because I think it's used in a few places. Oh yeah, the after turn effect. But that's going to use the same new system, so we might just remove this. And the return value, okay, it's not even used right now. Okay, so let's look. I guess I'll just leave this result, but we're not actually going to return anything. But just in case. Well, I guess we'll have the selection, because I'll tell the game like which player is done now. Wait, does anything actually... I don't think anything like responds to this message. Doesn't make any sense though. Okay, generate actions decoder is right here. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't come up in this list. Okay, so I need to remember to update the after turn effect script. That's actually a good point, because it's going to use this same system, so let me write a note. Back to the animation system. Oh, that's Control Tab instead of Shift Tab. Update after turn effects to use new animation / action system. The after turn effects is like another round of actions that happens. So the first round is the player selections, and then the second round is like other actions that happen due to the world map, or if a player is poisoned, then they could get damaged, for example. Just things that are defined by the mods themselves. They'll still use the same system for this, but I need to remember to update it. Okay, so the generator, or excuse me, the generated actions decoder, I think we'll end up deleting this class, but we'll use some of this stuff, because this is kind of what we're going to need to be doing, except instead of a play exception, we'll actually return a script exception. Yeah, because the good thing about that is that it'll throw an error, immediately instead of after the script is done running. Okay, so let's see. I guess this would still be an action logic. So let's call this the action gen script manager. So it'll be a lot like the animation script manager. They're not quite as complicated, I don't think. And then we'll just have the Lua I was trying to think if I wanted to have one class for a bunch of the action functions or do one for each separate one like I did for animations. Funnily enough, I think that the actions are going to be simpler than animations, which is kind of weird to think about. I'll just say Lua move function handler. Okay, let's clean up some of the scripts up there. Okay, so animations, I'll copy Lua weight just because it's the simplest. Okay, and this is actually the action gen script manager instead of just the script manager. Okay, and instead of animations, we actually get actions. I call it the action logger, but I guess I should just rename it to actions now. Okay, so it's this. To move, I guess that's all it will handle in here. So this is Lua to move. And I guess I'll delete both of these. Monster position. Okay, and the first thing I need to do is we have to check if this is a valid time to call this. I'm not sure how I checked that before, but I'll go ahead and just create this method. And we need to use Moon Sharp. And the rest of it I think I can copy from, where is it? The generated actions decoder. I think that maybe I should move this Lua Callers class out, or all these classes out to the, I don't know. I don't really want to change any more namespaces, but just for organizational, maybe it should be moved out to the more relevant namespaces, but okay, so I'm going to mark this as system obsolete. Same with these other, because it's not needed anymore. So what's this decode Lua? Oh, I see. It looks through the list and then it has to see what type it is. Okay, so we already know it's a move type, so we can just copy this. And after that, I think it'll be safe to delete this class. But I should clear out a lot of these exceptions that we don't need anymore. So let's do data game action. Game action is new. Okay, and the parameter. Okay, we do need to know what the active player is actually. So I guess probably the manager would know that. This says animation manager. Okay, so let's do manager.activePlayer, and we'll just rely on it to give it to us. I'll make it a function just to make it simpler. Okay, so the Lua action. Oh yeah, so yeah, we need to actually check to see if monster is null. If monster is null, then I'd throw a new script. Script runtime exception. Null arg. So it's not num argument. Oops, I typed it again. Argument passed to monster. Or let's say this. Actually, it should be nil because it's nil in Lua. Nil monster passed to doom. Okay, and then here it says making sure that the monster's index actually makes sense. So I can get the battle. But this is in the wrong spot there. Alright, and so no play exceptions anymore. So this would be, I forgot the throw keyword there as well. Bad monster passed to do move. And there it's actually setting it. And now we're doing the position. What's all these problems? Oh, okay, so this should be Lua interface monster and also Lua interface. That's just because the game data and the Lua interface have classes that are both named the same thing. Okay, so here, I guess we will need to check if the position is null. So if position is null, throw new script, runtime exception, nil, position passed to do move. Oh, I could just type a little p and that will be fine. And again, we don't have to do a play exception anymore, so script out of bounds, position past do move. Don't need to check if it's null twice. Okay, and then we just need to return the Lua action. It's pretty much the same thing. Some type move, monster, position. Is there anything else I need to type in or send in here? Nope, that's it. Okay. So that's pretty good. And I guess, yeah, I'll get rid of this since we've already exploded the game by changing up how the components are set up. I don't think a few more errors will cause too much trouble. Nothing else I need in here. Bye-bye. Oh, except I did forget to delete those play exceptions. Well, we can do that real quick. Pretty much, yeah, these are all gone. Yeah, because that's all scripts, so. I'll just make sure that nothing uses them. No references. Okay. Although now the numbers are all messed up. I don't really know why C# decided to put these numbers in there because not really needed. Because well, I should have said why Visual Studio put these numbers in here when I generated these enumerations, because C# does it anyway by default just by putting this order in. And we don't really have to keep track of, like, we don't need these numbers to stay constant, so there's no point. It's not hurting anything either, but it just bothers me, so there we go. So one thing I need to change is the selections to actions Lua color. I already know. Oh, actually I got rid of it already, so never mind. Except I don't need this query anymore. And I'll go ahead and change a bit about the after turn effects because it also used to have this query. And so I'll just set result actions to null for now. I need to come back and change this class anyway. Okay, so actions generator script manager. Let's just create the new Lua move function handler. And I think we're out of time, so we're kind of at a good stopping point. We did one action script, and now I just need to hook everything up, and it's not going to be very difficult, I don't think. I guess I'll go ahead and get a reference to the all turn actions. So turn actions and the animation sequence. This will kind of remember. This class will actually insert the actions that it's passed. Speaking about that, actually, the Lua move function handler needs to pass the game action up to its manager. So, oops, not how you spell that. Add action. And I'll just go ahead and create this dummy function for now. Is get component, all turn actions, and animation sequence. Animation, stored, sequence. Okay, so just hooking that up for now. And so we'll need to implement these functions, but they're not going to be that difficult. There should be quite a bit of errors here now because it doesn't contain a definition for generate ordered actions in the components because I deleted that tag. Nothing else needs to be decoded, but we'll just have to go through and fix some of this stuff when we're done with the actions, or rewriting the action system, I think. None of it should be that difficult. But yeah, I guess that's it for me for tonight. Thanks again, everybody, for coming by and watching. I do appreciate it. Over the weekend, my new mic and face cam did come in, so hopefully we'll have some stream update or upgrades next Monday. I'm pretty excited for that. But if you want to be notified when I go live tomorrow or Monday around 8:30 Eastern, I should well, of course you can follow me here on Twitch, and then I'll also post on Twitter about it. I also have a YouTube channel to get caught up on any streams you might have missed. I post everything there, and a Discord channel. I'll go ahead and post links in chat, or you can look on my video description. Oh, hi Mimaron, haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry, I'm just closing out the stream right now, but glad to see you. But yeah, unfortunately I can't play the game to see our progress right now because of these errors, but that's it for me for tonight. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.